I will call the regular board meeting from the Cambridge Village Board for Tuesday, January 13th to order. Roll call, please.
Cumbier.
Here.
Hollenbeck.
Here.
Cunningham absent. Stress.
Here.
Waller. Faley. Christensen. We have a quorum.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Flag is on the side here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You can thank our past Village Board President, Don Trela, for introducing that to us.
I was just thinking that. The tradition lives on. We kept doing it.
All right.
Good to see.
And I'm not going to be the guy to stop it, so it's going to be up to the next guy. I don't want to be
Don't even
anti-American.
think about it.
Proof of posting.
The agenda was posted in the Amundsen Community Center, Cambridge State Bank, Post Office, Cambridge News Office, and the village website.
Very good. We are legal. Public appearances, we don't show it on the agenda, but we always want to include that. I believe, Patty, you're here for library. You wait, okay. And the other two gentlemen at the back are on, I guess everybody's for something on the agenda. So we'll just get to you as soon as we can. Approval of consent agenda, which consists of one item, the minutes from our last meeting, December 9th. As you know, we didn't have a meeting on the 23rd due to the holidays, so it goes back a whole month.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Minutes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Reports. President report. Couple of things. Well, I guess the fire commission. Just
okay?
kind of a wrap up on the bike trail and safe crossings. That project is done. There'll be a little bit in the spring, some shaping and seeding around the posts and things that they couldn't do due to weather. They'll come back and do that. The good news is, at one point we looked like the project was going to run over by a fair bit, $2,000 or $3,000. As it turned out, they were able to save some cost with getting those crossings from Madison, the city of Madison. Gave us a break, and the electrician got the job done quicker than they had anticipated, and actually gave us a savings. So that was good of them. So we ran over by $1,000,
Oh, that's it?
$1,040.
That's great.
Right.
So the village,
Congratulations.
the county's going to cover half of that because Mo had already set that up with them, $520, and then the anonymous donor will cover the other $520, and so
Great.
the village is whole. We don't have to cover anything. So that's all good news.
Mhm.
And we'll probably do a ribbon cutting in the spring sometime
Nice.
when the snow melts. Although I see they're plowing that path through the West Side Park, which I really didn't expect them to do. But,
I think they kind of like showing it. And
yeah,
I
okay.
think it's kind of a matter of pride.
Boy,
Yeah, so it's pretty.
bike path, that only took 10 years.
Oh, yeah, I think it's
The-
before my time even.
It must be turned off. The wheels of government crank slowly, but they do crank.
Yeah.
That's the good news. So,
My little green, Ted's is off? Mine's on.
so
That's okay.
on
I'll put it closer.
moving on then to the, unless there's any questions on that.
Nope.
Moving on to the fire commission report. We had our budget approved, and we said 2%, and we held it to that 2%. So that's good news. Not a big increase there. And the big news is, well, a couple of things. One is the EMS is going to get 2 new ambulances this coming
Ooh.
year. They're used from Wanakee. Wanakee takes excellent care of their equipment. And every 5 years they replace both ambulances as a set. So normally a new ambulance is now about $150,000. We got these for $60,000.
Wow.
For both of them?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, 60,000 for both. So yeah, it's amazing. So we'll have to do some equipping of them, and they put in for a grant request from the foundation to do some of that. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, all the funds came from within the fire commission and the EMS board. So didn't have to do any fundraising, didn't have to. So we really owe a debt of gratitude to Bob Saloff, our EMS director, for finding those, and then there was a committee that got together to review it and landed that deal, so it's great.
So then we can turn around and sell the 2 ambulances.
We
that
can,
own.
will be a little bit of savings there too,
Sure.
money back, so yeah.
Sure. Okay,
So,
great.
oh.
Thank you.
So, and then the other bit of news is that our fire chief, Ryan Haas, is stepping down after years of service. I don't know, it's been 8 or 10 years that he's been fire chief. He is stepping down. And in February, next month, the second week of February, they'll be having a meeting to elect a new fire chief. All the firemen get together and we'll vote. So we'll find out who that is. Right now, we don't know. So, but we'll have to, I think, do something for Ryan to thank him. It was for his years of
Mhm.
service. He was a very effective chief. So that's the news from Fire Commission. Cambridge Deerfield Monthly Police Report is in your packet. Once again, even though there were more calls in Deerfield, we somehow got charged more of the time. I guess that's just justice, because they are stationed here. What was interesting is I didn't see anything about the event that we had here, the house break-in and whatnot. I thought there might be a
Well, that's why
little,
we took up more time, too.
a little blurb on that. Maybe that can't be released.
Maybe it went to county correctly.
Well, what date did it happen?
Second.
Oh, so that would be
Oh,
yeah, it'll be under-
January.
Oh, this
It's
is
gonna be under
December's
January's.
report. Got it.
Yep.
Yep. So that'll come in next, our next report. And we only get the monthly, right? So it'll be a full month. But at any rate, so that's in the packet. Personnel Committee met on December 15th. Minutes are in the packet. Who wants to cover it? Kathy would normally, right? Mary, do you want to say anything? You want me to cover it?
You go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Basically, what we talked about was employee reviews. We're going to be getting organized for those probably in March. And the library board was also notified, so they'll be doing a review of their own employees. They're handled separately from village employees. Library board oversees them. The economic development position, we had extensive discussion about that. All of us wanting to keep Linda, but knowing that money is tight. Mo presented a couple of options. One is we're getting a new U.S. cellular antenna on our tower, and that's going to bring in fairly significant money. Normally that would go toward the water and sewer, but we're going to see if we can convince water and sewer to allow that to go to Linda's position. We can also see some savings with restructuring debt, hopefully, and also reducing the utility clerk position with Lisa and Mo picking up some of those responsibilities. So with all that put together, there was also discussion about cutting back on the cleaning staff, or on Peach's position. But consensus was that we need her, especially with the new library starting, probably more time there. So we didn't really want to cut back on her time. So we decided to recommend that not be done. So Mo's going to continue to look at other options and do whatever we need to do to keep Linda full-time through the calendar year. And then she's on her own. No. We'll find a way.
Thank you. I'm going to hold you to that statement.
Okay. It's on camera. So now is pretty much it, I think, from personnel. Yep. So,
What
any
will
questions?
you be making a decision on this?
I think,
Yep, I would, if I could just.
sure, Mo, go ahead.
The committee asked me to basically assemble the numbers related to the direction that they wanted to go. So I would anticipate that being the next village board meeting, or possibly the first meeting in February.
It's gotta be run through the water commission too, right?
Yep, we'll put it on the agenda for
Yeah.
water and sewer. Yep. So on the next week, or the 20th, that meeting. Questions? Moving on then to the Plan Commission, met just last night, and amazingly, here's the minutes. Mo was very efficient.
Actually, that's Lisa.
Okay, Lisa's very efficient. Credit where credit is due. So,
We'll
Right.
cover most of this stuff later on,
yep.
so.
you're right. They're both, it's Vineyards at Cambridge and a potential distillery, and those, you're right, Dwight, those are both on the agenda, so, but you have the minutes before you. Economic Development Report.
Well,
Linda, do you want the
unfortunately, I just,
microphone? It's just right behind you, so just scoot it over.
oh, it's right there.
Yep.
Ooh.
Actually, I just gave you the report, I just got it done this afternoon, so I apologize for the lateness. So I'm not gonna read the whole thing to you, but I'll just hit some highlights, and then you can peruse it at your leisure. I based it on the 3 goals that I have this year. One is to complete the branding process for the village, the other is to recruit and increase jobs and job potentials, and the third is to work with TID number 4, and especially with lot number 2 in that TID. So what I have done in the last month with these is we were applying with the chamber for a WEDIC grant to complete this marketing process and branding process. However, things have changed significantly because WEDIC is a 3-to-1 grant, meaning that the village was putting up 1/3. The chamber, in the form of a grant from Cambridge Foundation, was putting up 1/3, and WEDIC was completing the 1/3. We no longer have the ability to put up that 1/3. So Carol Sapienza from the chamber and I are having a conference call with WEDIC Thursday morning to see, number one, if already spent funds could be allotted to the project. If that's possible, because the project was really begun in 2013, the village in 2013 and 2014 definitely spent its 1/3 of this project. So if that can happen, then we can, move on for the remainder. If that can't happen, then we will possibly hold back and wait until a March or June deadline. They do 3 times a year, and apply with a smaller goal in mind and or with fundraising potentials. Perhaps we can fundraise that 1/3 that the village was going to provide. And this is for creating our final brand, that facilitation to help create that. It is for the marketing materials themselves, that it will be printed and or published in the website. So those are all the things that were incorporated into that. We will do our best with volunteers. Oh, it also includes the signage entering the building. And I do have a
Nice.
volunteer looking at the sign right now.
Okay.
And there's a possibility that we could just do some in-kind services or whatever. So we're looking at every option we can to keep this cost-effective yet powerful at the same time. We don't want to chintz on our presentation. With jobs, the whole jobs thing is taking a lot of different fronts. I did form a jobs team. I told you about that at our last meeting. And right now that team is meeting again, a subgroup of that team is meeting again Friday morning with MadRep. They're meeting with the CEO and the development directors. So it's Michael Gay and Paul Jaden. I told them some of the things that we were doing and sent in our report from our jobs team. They expressed an interest to come down and help us. The basic help will be to establishing 210 West Main into an incubation center for either high-tech and or food innovation. Our concern as the team, I shared that with you, was whether or not we'd be able to bring people from Madison to Little Cambridge to do an incubator. Well, Michael Gay thinks he has a way to make that work. He's looking at maybe connecting and networking incubators throughout the region. And each one might have its own specialty or its own unique space. So if you buy space or rent space within our incubator, you may also be able to use space in a Madison one, a Whitewater one, one in Watertown, wherever we could hook up, which would, I think, be perfect for us. It would get somebody out here and perhaps view and see what our lifestyle is and decide, oh, this is so, it's really fun, or it's really a good space. So we would, and then it also creates a larger platform, a greater stage for these innovators and the projects that they're doing, present them to a larger audience. So I think that could be a great thing. They're very eager to work with us. Terry Sivison, who is a hometown man, he was one of the originators of Generator, and he's working, he's the CEO of Starting Block in Madison, so he has extensive experience. He's worked with Michael Gay and Paul Jaden in the past. He's volunteering his time to work with us, as a number of really knowledgeable people in this jobs team. So I think I'm really excited about that coming, and we're going to see what can happen through that. So that hopefully will provide, if we can get that going, that'll provide a variety of jobs, but mostly skilled and higher end jobs that would result, I think, in a greater buy-in to our community and resulting jobs coming from there. So I think that's a real good basis for jobs. I also met with Mary Gage from WEDIC. She specializes in community development, economic grants, and tax credits. Bill and I met with her to discuss the possibilities of things that we might be able to do with the distillery in providing jobs. So there's a lot of different funding programs out there. So Mary's going to work with me. I'm going to learn, and then in turn, if we do happen to have the distillery move in and other businesses move in, I will help them navigate the waters. And not many communities are willing to do that. But I'll take my time, I'll work with them and provide them with as much information and make it more palatable and easy for them to walk through. And then obviously what you have in front of you tonight is working with Travis and Tom Maas and TM Projects on the Vineyard campus. And that would create, as you'll hear, a really unique concept for us and a great, amazing opportunity, plus jobs. And we have to keep that in our forefront. And I did today, just so you know, I contacted, but I have not heard back, I contacted Bartlett Durand from Black Earth Meats.
Oh,
And gave him a nice little description of how wonderful and glorious and terrific we are, how our value statement matches his, and why he needs to be here with one of his conscious carnivores. He can't refuse that.
And just-
So at least
I love
we'll
it.
have a discussion, hopefully, you know.
And just to let you know, Charles
He made the
Feisel
contact.
knows him.
Yes, he made the contact. with
Oh,
me.
okay, okay, good.
Yeah, he introduced us by email.
Okay,
Also, there is a gentleman called Nick Mink, who is considered the guru in salmon farming. He has indoor salmon farms all over the country. He is working with Black Earth Meats right now and has expressed an interest in locating another one of his farms in this area. So Gary Funk knows Nick, and he created an avenue for us to meet with him in February. We're not really anticipating that we have the capacity to do what he wants to do, but we want to talk to him and see how he feels about it. That coincides with a project I'm working on right now with CART, Cambridge Area Resource Team, and this is the fact that we have homeless in this community, and we have people in transition in this community who need a hands up, and they need help, and they need education, and they need jobs. So I put out a program to WEDIC, to Dane County, and to Jefferson County, and people have been incredibly responsive. One of our team members actually reached out to UW Whitewater to talk to them about creating a model program where you get people into this program and you provide them with transitional housing, and you provide them with education, and we provide them with jobs. We've been doing a lot of research on how you do indoor fish farming, both saltwater and not saltwater.
freshwater.
And these things could all, we've looked at facilities here in town, these things are doable. It's finding the resources to capitalize on that. And if we could bring these people into transitional housing, provide them with education and a job for a product that would be marketable and in demand, we could provide sustainable jobs and keep our community healthy from the bottom up. So that is just a really exciting project for all of us. And the last thing is I have done not a whole lot on Lot 2. However, I did by chance meet with a group of investors on Friday who are looking at doing multifamily, 2-story, maybe 3 to 4 units, and they were looking at that area. They're simply in the exploratory phase. It would be about, 24 to 32 units. I don't know what will happen with that. I don't know if that's all appropriate, but anyway, it was an interest, and it was a good discussion, and they are only looking in the Cambridge area. So, that's what I've done.
Okay, thank you.
Wow,
That's quite a
I love your
report.
enthusiasm.
Yes. it
It's
definitely-
contagious.
Yeah, I agree, it definitely shows. So, any questions for Linda?
Nope.
Very good, thank you much. We'll move on then to the administrator's report. Mo, can you top that?
No, I can't. Can't top that. Just a one-page report, it's in the packet. Few open items. no topics that you really that are new to you, but working on debt analysis. Going to be meeting with the Water, Sewer, and Stormwater Committee on budgets for Fund 500, 600, and 800. Some preliminary discussions about the use of the space that's currently occupied by the library.
Good.
And just focused on process improvement. We've collected about $1.8 million in property taxes since, I don't know, December 15th. And so the staff's done a great job in making that happen. We did, statutorily were required to disperse a January settlement to the other taxing jurisdictions, and those dollars have been dispersed.
That would be like the school district and
Right, the other
and MATC and all.
MATCs and the two
and the
counties.
2 counties. Yep.
In addition to the one-page summary, I did provide a document prepared by the Village of Cottage Grove, which is a comparison of just the municipal tax levy dollar amounts. It puts Cambridge in about the center of the middle of the pack for Dane County communities. So just wanted to make that available.
Thanks for putting that. That's very interesting information, because you always kind of wonder
Yeah.
where you fall.
Yep.
And what shocked the heck out of me is large communities like Stoughton and Madison are at the top. You would think they'd be at the bottom
And
because
Sun Prairie.
Yeah.
And with all that Sun Prairie is doing,
Right.
that just shocked me to
would,
see
you would
Sun
think
Prairie's
that they
number.
wouldn't need to hit people as hard
Yeah,
because
I
they've
know.
got a bigger tax base to work
Yeah.
from.
Greater
So-
infrastructure, though.
Yep.
Well, they do, but
Oh, yeah,
I don't know.
Yep.
When you grow, you're gonna have to have services.
that's right.
That's true.
Yep.
But
So,
when you think of the university and everything, well, at any rate.
so happy to address any questions later on in the agenda. If there's any items that you want to refer under item 11, happy to make note of that to work on any issues that have come to mind for you.
I think I'm moving to Rockdale. $4.52.
You would be vice president right now.
Oh, can I get out that easy?
Steve, it's terrible.
Just kidding. I wouldn't live in Rockdale. No, it's a fine community, but.
Oh, yeah, look at you.
Okay, thank you, Mo. Any questions for our administrators? It looks like things are moving along well there. Also, the debt analysis, I know you're working with Greg Johnson from Ayers to redo our, restructure our debt. See a note on that.
We'll be looking at end part of February, early part of March to come to the village board with kind of an action plan with an opportunity then over the course of March for a decision-making process with rolling out something early April.
Great. Looking forward to that. We find some savings there. We can hope anyway, right? Okay, then we will move on to bills.
And Steve, if I could
Yep.
just comment, loose on everyone's, loose on the tabletop is a registry or a register of all of the bills, and then the signature sheet has the document stapled to it. Hopefully that's a concise way of sharing with you the bills that we're paying. It really was a very quiet month with the exception of a final payment for County Highway B Spring Street project, about $292,000 bill from Dane County on that.
100.
193.
Thank you, I misspoke.
Just under 200,000.
Yeah, if you subtract that out, we're at about a $20,000.
17, yeah, 20, right.
So what happened with the tax overpayment?
Well,
That just happens.
yeah, when commonly individuals will have escrow payments.
Oh, got it.
And their escrow
Yep.
company doesn't exactly dial in the amount.
Got it.
And so
Okay.
then statutorily, we're required to kick back a check to the property owner within 15 days of receipt. So, yeah, there are 61 checks today, and so it's quite a few checks, but a number of those are the tax overpayments.
Yeah, and they're relatively small, yeah.
The Visa cat license?
Yeah, it's a single transaction. We purchase the physical metal
Oh,
tags.
the metal tags.
Yeah.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you.
I will entertain a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $214,727.32.
I so move.
Can I hear a second? Okay. Discussion.
Yeah, sorry, now I should ask my questions.
You can ask again.
What's the True North Consultants?
True North Consultants is a firm that was brought in for the At Home Again project. It's actually a bill we've been holding for a period of time. The understanding with the developer was that it would be a cost share between the village and the developer, and so we're paying out the amount in full, and then we'll invoice the At Home Again folks for half.
Okay,
Okay.
And that's a tax incremental district number 4 expense.
okay.
Fenley Total Inspections, what is
That's Mike Fenley's company, our building inspector.
that? Okay,
And
that's
so-
how he bills it.
Correct, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's 3 permits. I believe the invoice, you have a summary document that represents payment for 3 separate permits that Mike's worked on in that period.
And is he going to start doing some inspections? You know, there's a lot of building going on in the Cambridge area.
He has been doing inspections, I believe.
Has he or hasn't
For
he?
instance, at Home Again, I'm sure he's inspected there.
Yeah, he,
As far as I know, he's
Yeah.
keeping up with the projects as they're going
Okay.
on.
Right.
And we've even been meeting with him on the progress of the vineyards and such on a
Are we
regular
seeing
manner.
any, is there a paper trail then also?
As far as inspections, they go in his file, I
so,
think.
so Ted, if you're asking does he follow up on individuals that pull permits for projects, the answer to that is yes. Yes.
But then, you know, on bigger buildings, there's usually inspections for steel and stuff like that. You know, there's got to be a paper trail started, and it has to be maintained.
Yeah,
Because if it isn't, it's a real problem.
yeah, he's a full service building inspection service and
I
and
just-
has the full.
I just would maybe start seeing some of the inspection reports from the building inspector. We're paying him
Mhm.
to do this work.
Well, I mean, they're open records, so Ted, if you want to drop in, you can see them.
Well, I think we should probably will then.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
I know, I kind of know where you're coming from, because when we asked for a report from him, it was kind of sparse.
That's where I'm getting
And
at.
we're wondering how thorough they are, perhaps.
That's right.
So, might not hurt to do a check, but we are trusting that he's doing everything that's required by statute. I suppose we could check. But,
Yep,
any
happy to-
other-
Happy to follow up on that.
Sure.
any other
Appreciate
questions
it.
on the bills? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Combier,
Yes.
Faley.
Yes.
Christensen.
Yes.
Waller.
Yes.
Hollenbeck.
Yes,
Struss.
Yes, we'll pay the bills.
Motion carries.
Thank you. So, we'll get through things quickly and we'll get on to our guests here. Unfinished business 2015 committee appointments. I've talked to a number of people,
Okay.
and it seems like most respond with, you really don't want me on that board, or you really don't want me on that committee. So I'm still working on people. I tell them we're open to all views. We're, I like-
heck, if you guys welcomed me, then
That's
anybody
right.
is pretty much welcome.
Pretty much. But,
Steve, I found an effective way is to just to put them on the committee.
don't ask.
There was
Yeah,
no
don't ask.
asking.
Maybe that's a good approach. And then ask for forgiveness later. huh?
That's right.
Okay. I might try that, because, yeah, it seems people come up with some pretty good excuses.
Mhm.
So I'm still working on that. Proposed Cambridge High School off-site parking. That's in your packet. As you know, this is the property up on Simonson Street, a little triangular lot. And it looks like they can squeeze 26 vehicles in there, which amazed the heck out of me.
Yep.
I figured they'd get
Mhm.
about 13 or 14 in there. But yeah, there's the layout. They got 26 spots, and that keeps back the 25 foot setback from wetlands on the environmental corridor. So apparently, they can do it. It is being reviewed by our engineer, Warren Myers, with Town and Country. He had a couple of comments back to them on this, and so this isn't necessarily a final at this point. He had a couple of comments for them to address. You do see there are 2 entrances too, an entrance and an exit, which might actually be good for traffic flow through there, but of course it's also a double entrance and exit onto Simonson, so something we have to consider whether we want
Did we already
to.
find out if they were talking about Dave?
Oh, I believe it's a paved lot. It says
It-
impervious area.
Yeah, it's marked as 9,100 square feet of impervious area. So
And it could be a packed gravel, but I think it's
Are
probably
they gonna use
paved.
one driveway as an entrance and one as an exit, or are they gonna use it?
Good question. Don't know.
yeah.
It's
The-
not listed here.
Because either way, that ain't gonna work.
Yep, Mary, the question was posed by the school district superintendent. The ordinance calls for a management plan to deal with dust and so forth. So it doesn't necessarily specify an asphalt surface, but what it does specify is management of dust and things that might be common to a gravel parking lot.
Oh,
So
maybe it is.
in my backyard, they can make a big cloud, and as long as they wet it once a week, it's
Well,
good enough.
Well,
That's true. You
they-
live just the other side of the creek from there.
Yeah, they,
No, right across the fence line, not even across the creek.
yeah.
Oh.
And so one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
One communication that I've made to the school board superintendent is there's various concepts that have been floated, and so they've put some effort into this concept. And I guess in fairness to the school district, having the village board, make a public statement as a body could be helpful in the process because it would eliminate the situation potentially of the school district putting taxpayer resources into planning a design and then having the village board,
Not approve
just not approve it. And so if there is a option or a way or a concept to kind of incrementally move through this, or at least give the school board folks a signal in some way, shape, or form, that may be, I just put that forward to you as a element of fairness to the folks on the other end of this project working on it.
Mhm.
Other concepts that have, the numbers, the monetary part of it is a modest transaction of $1. Gets to Scott's point from a previous meeting of the school district then taking on the full burden of any stormwater regulation, management, and so forth. And then the school district entering into an agreement where they basically pay a fee in lieu of taxes. And so the village assessor would be tasked with putting a value on the parcel, and then the school district would pay a sum equal to what the municipal tax levy is on an annual basis. So I'm estimating, depending on the value they put into the lot, that could be anywhere from $400 to $600 a year. So it would be something comparable to people paying property taxes on a lot this size, but it would just be the municipal portion of the property taxes. So those are the concepts that are out there, and I just kind of wanted to summarize those because I know we've been away. It's been a month. And so
Yeah, thanks, Mo. I think a couple of considerations. One obviously is do we want to give this property up as a potential tax? Well, we would get the fee in lieu of taxes, but if, say, a home went on that property, if it was buildable, obviously there'd be more tax generated than this. However, on the other side of the coin, we like to support the school district, and if this is something they want to do, and the land did originally belong to the school district, and they gave it to the village.
Yeah, but
so
but if they hadn't given it to the village, they would have had to incur a lot of costs to upkeep it. So they really just passed a cost on to us, and we've been maintaining it all these years.
true.
So we've been saving them money.
Okay, that's.
So,
what
I
we
mean,
look
it's
at.
not
Now they're
So-
willing to pay some of that back.
$600 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, $500 a year, I think, or so.
So I'm not convinced, so if you want to know
Okay.
where we're standing, I'm not convinced that I would agree that a parking lot is the best solution here. I would need to understand why they want to put a parking lot in there, what they really think it's going to alleviate, what the issues are, and not just perceptions and anecdotal stuff, but I mean, why do they really want to do this?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
I need more details too. Are they
And-
going to have lighting? Are they going to have, that's going to shine right in my bedroom windows.
How are we going to make sure that,
And my
when
neighbors.
everybody's leaving at the end of the game, when they're all PO'd because we lost, and, so.
I think it's pretty deep there.
Oh.
But I do know, just to give you a little background, that they do want to use that end of their fields more. They're putting some additional ball diamonds or something down there, and they want the ADA compliance. They want to have handicap accessible, so they want us to do some curb cuts there and they want to have some designated spots that will be just for handicap. But to do that,
But there's not even
they
sidewalks.
want to,
You mean
know,
on the
that
street?
would be on the street. And then so on the other side, they want to be able to provide more parking for people so that, because there is, when there's a game, that whole street is packed with cars. And it is a little dangerous because people go up there and there's doors opening and things. So I think it will, alleviate some of that. But people are still going to park in the street because it's closer. So I don't know how, to be honest, I don't know how much it's really going to improve matters. It's, something maybe we do need to consider further. The other thing I want to bring up is that the property owner directly to the south of there wanted to purchase that. Remember,
Right.
he came to us and he wanted to build a garage or whatever there. And that's why, originally got the appraisal. He did not end up purchasing it. But has anyone notified him that this is in the works? And does he have an issue with this parking lot going in next to his property? And would he now be willing to offer the village what we originally wanted for it to avoid that parking lot? And I don't know if we want to pit the school district against this private owner, but at least that owner should have the right to know what's being planned.
Yeah, but that was a couple of years ago.
It was,
Sort of
but
been
he still
dropped
owns that
since then.
property.
Who's the owner?
I couldn't remember his
John,
name.
you
He's,
approached the board.
it's a rental. I mean, he doesn't live
Yeah.
there.
Oh, okay.
But, and I'm not certain if he even lives in the community. Live elsewhere.
Obviously, the tax records will have it.
Right. So whether we want to notify him of what's going on here might be, if I was that owner, I'd want to know.
Another piece of it is that the parcel is zoned conservancy currently. Because they're considering a parking lot, it would be appropriate for it to be rezoned to public, which is another park designation that speaks to parking. And so there could be a rezoning process involved with the parcel. And so then that would also engage the neighbors we would communicate out to the neighbors.
Yep.
I think the only way that we might approve this is if they did designate some assignments and then no parking, except for maybe the handicap spots. If they were to do that, I think, it would free up that congestion, move
Along
people
the
off
streets.
Right, get them off the street into that parking lot.
Mhm.
If
That makes
that were the
sense.
case, then I think maybe we could buy into it. But if they don't do that, it's really not going to change the congestion. So I think we need to talk
It's
about
just
it.
move the congestion up to the intersection,
Right.
is what it will do.
Yeah, well, when they're leaving or coming or leaving,
Yeah. But if you're the one trying to get home when they're coming or leaving,
Yeah.
that, I just see
Well-
it as kind of a dangerous situation.
I don't know if we should attend one of the school board meetings, have a representative or two go to the school board meeting and discuss some of this. I know we're kind of putting Mo in the middle. Of course, that's why he's paid the big bucks to represent us, maybe.
Yeah, if there's, so I've taken some notes here. There's questions of lighting, and interest in more detail. We could ask for a narrative in addition to the visual of what the objectives are of the
I mean,
project.
what the planned surface would be important, because
I guess,
would,
yeah.
the dust thing would, if I was a neighbor, would
Well,
be a
it's
concern.
easier to maintain blacktop than it is gravel
I agree.
in the long run.
Yep.
And you can mark stones, too.
Mhm.
We can post some questions and see what new information is available for the next
Okay.
village board
Do you
meeting.
think we could do this along with those questions, though, at least voice that if these were addressed, we're in favor of it, or are we even at that point? Because
I'm not at that
I
point.
agree
I'm
with
not at that
Mo.
point.
No? Okay. That maybe, if I was on that board, I'd want to know, why are we going through all this work if it's going to get rejected in the end anyway?
I think we need a really solid proposal, and I think we need the feedback from our engineer.
Okay?
And is the DOT involved at all?
That was going to be my question.
Okay, I'm sorry, Dwight, we're kind of cutting you off. Go ahead.
We're close to a federal highway.
That's right,
Yeah.
real close.
How is that going to impact? How much traffic comes onto that road?
Especially, there's got to be a certain setback from the
Good
center
point,
of that
good point.
that
There might
US
be more
highway.
considerations there.
I just
So-
think I need more
So
information
right now,
before I
we have more questions.
Well, I know they want the parking there because of the ball diamonds down there.
Right, right.
Sports
Yes.
complex.
Sure.
That I see no problem with, but we have to make sure that we're covering all the ducks like Ohio State did last night.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay.
So I'll pose a series of questions to the staff on the school district side and see if we can't get some information back and
Okay.
communicate that out.
So, yeah, it looks like we're not prepared as a board to endorse or reject this at this point.
Mo,
Kind
can
of
you,
on the fence.
could you also investigate what hoops have to be jumped through for the rezoning type work that would have to be done?
Well, that would be just our standard rezoning process where neighbors within a certain number of feet are notified. There's a public hearing. It
Okay.
goes before the plan commission, and the village board would actually then have to be the final board to consider that, final governing body.
Okay, very good. I'd like to move on then. Mo, you'll have an assignment there.
Good luck, Mo.
Moving on to new business. Linda, if you could move that microphone back. We have Don and Christy Trailoff here from 501 Blue Jay Way. They're seeking detachment from Lake Ripley Management District. Just to give you a little background before I give it to you, Don. Back in 1991, I believe it was, this district was formed, the Lake Management District around Lake Ripley. And it was taken to the Jefferson County Board, because that's all in Jefferson County. They approved it. And at that time, none of the properties in the district were in the village. So in the meantime, we've annexed in 9 properties. Don's being one of them, Don and Christie's being one of them, and 8 others that have been annexed in. And now over time, the rate that they pay into that district has increased. And it used to be like $20, $30 a year. Now it's up to one home is $150 a year. And the concern from the residents is that they're in the village. Why are they paying into this district? So,
Yep. In the research of this, in talking with Lisa Moan, she's been on for 10 years. The Lake District, to our knowledge, has not levied a tax in the Village of Cambridge portion of Jefferson County for at least 10 years. And so this year was the first year in recent memory that there has been a tax levy. The nominal rate for those that have been in the district and have been taxed, they raise about roughly $85,000 annually for the district. The Village of Cambridge portion of that, just so you understand, totals to about $600. So it's roughly, in very general figures, it's about $600 in tax levy across, I believe it's 10 parcels. There's 9 property owners and 1 individual owns 2 parcels.
okay, with that little bit of background, Don, you go ahead and
Okay, well,
state
just
your
to
case.
clarify, no tax have been levied for 23 years.
Okay.
Not 10. You do have some information that got to you late on the table, and we probably won't be able to get through all that. I don't know that we're going to be able to reach a determination tonight. It's not just me. I represent at least 4 other parcel owners. The other ones never contacted me back. I don't know where they sit, and of course nowadays with cell phones I can't look up their phone number and give them a call. But 4 other ones have contacted me. And one of them is only $4 is all he pays. But the fact is he's in the Village of Cambridge. There's 39 properties in the Village of Cambridge on the Jefferson County side. 9 of us are taxed. The other 30 are not. When this Lake Management District was first formed, the determination or the determination factor for that was we feel, and we've got the minutes for this, we feel this is the size of area that will pass, because they had to have 51% of the vote to be able to create the Lake Management District as it was. They just barely made it. We tried to detach about 25 years ago, and we were told that we benefit from being in the Lake Management District, and that's one of the rules. To be in a management district, you have to receive some benefit. Now, I can't even see the lake. I was told by Mike Spellman back when we originally went to detach that I can walk to Foundation Park, so that's my advantage. Well, I think everybody can walk to Foundation Park. I still had to pay to get in the side. I don't get a free pass. So there was not an adequate determination made at that time. And was shortly after we asked. I also petitioned for my dad at the same time. He's out of the district. He's not mentioned in the minutes at all. My removal was denied. Carl Treloff, it doesn't say anything about. He's out of the district. So there's also the town of Oakland removed village-owned property when we bought where Well 3 is. That was removed by the town of Oakland. It had to be removed by the Jefferson County Board to be legal. So there's been a whole lot of things that just have not been kosher over the years. And us 9 are kind of the ones that are left because of all of these errors. It's not a tremendous amount of money, but if I go to sell my house and people look at my property tax and they see Lake District on there, they're going to think that there's some advantage to buying my property because they're going to get lake rights or something like that. I have no property on the water. I do not have lake rights. Can't see the lake. I don't drain towards the lake. 25 years ago, we had Warren Myers look at it and the U.S. Geographical Survey. And he provided me with a letter that says, no, we do not even drain towards the lake. You know, we're draining completely away. So it's a matter of, in 2007, I guess I'll hate if I'm jumping around, but it's kind of one of those cases. In 2007, the village board hired Anderson and Kent to look into this matter, because at that time we were also had an issue with the Oakland Sanitary District. And this was when we were establishing the Wastewater Treatment Commission and how this was all going to operate, because Cambridge's people that lived there, I would be paying town of Oakland sewer, but I would pay the village of Cambridge water. And the town of Oakland does not meter, so there was no way to correlate this. They just sort of guessed.
And I'm sorry, but that's kind of getting off the
Well,
subject.
it is and it isn't.
Well, but here's the bottom line. We've researched it, Don, and unfortunately, the village has no say in this. We have no authority. The petition has to be before the Lake District,
But
and then if you get denied,
you have no resolution, Steve.
That's.
I saw nothing where
Anderson had said that we.
because it was formed before it was in the village. The district was formed. We didn't.
But when the
there is
district
no
was
resolution.
formed, there has to be a resolution from the village of Cambridge.
But it wasn't. No village property was within.
Yes.
Yes.
30 properties.
Yours property at that time, Carl's property, all of those properties were in the Lake Management District. All of a sudden, they just got dropped. There was no resolution from the village at that time stating the properties will not go into that management district.
Maybe that's why they dropped them.
So what are the mechanics behind getting out of this?
We need a resolution stating that the village properties will not be in that district.
I don't think we have that authority.
Well, how did Oakland drop those properties that are in the village of Oakland?
See, that's just it. I mean, there's been so much
Was
inconsistency.
there a resolution from Oakland? at the
Not
time,
that I'm
or-
aware of.
Right.
No, just the town of Oakland. The only one I am aware of is the town of Oakland removed the village property.
If I could just comment, if you put it into context, if a property owner wanted to not participate in the Madison, the MATC school district or the Cambridge school district, for example, it would be a matter between the property owner and that taxing jurisdiction. I did drop off the tax settlement check to Lisa, staff person, the other day, and her comment to me was, can you just ask that all the interested parties, she got the email from the second individual, all interested parties contact the Lake District, because they view it as a matter, they're the taxing jurisdiction, and they view it as a matter between the Lake District and the property owners.
They are. The only reason I'm here is to ask that the letter that was written by Anderson and Kent in 2007 be followed through with some legal support from the village. And it wouldn't take an awful lot because the letter is very well written. It cites all the state statutes that are required to be followed. And we could then sit down with the Lake Management District and hash this out once and for all, instead of them just all of a sudden, well, we're not going to charge a tax for 25 years, yet they were obligated to do so.
Well, it was
You
Department
know.
of Revenue that caught that and actually required them to.
Well,
to
if they
take the tax.
did, I don't know
So,
if that's the truth or not, but
Well, that's what we've been told, and
Right.
and they could have actually charged back tax, but they decided not
For
to do
2
that.
years,
For
yeah.
2 years, yeah.
yeah.
So, well, Don, I guess we can investigate this a little bit further, but from what I've seen so far, it doesn't look like we have any authority at all in this. I mean, I suppose we can try to make a case with the Lake District.
Well,
but
and
it's
that's
really-
more
it's
what we're
their-
asking
It's their
is-
decision, it's not, we can't
Yeah.
really intervene. And if you want to appeal it, then you appeal to the circuit court.
Right. But that's the problem that we have. Thus, 9 cannot afford to appeal to circuit court. You know, and we kind of live out in no man's land as it is. We pay for police, but get no police support at all. If I call 911, I'm getting Jefferson County and I'm getting Town of Oakland.
Well, I think we've addressed that issue more
No,
recently. I
not
think.
with 911 you haven't.
Well, no, I think we did.
There have been some discussions just as
Yep.
recently as December
Well,
about that
there
particular
was
issue,
back when
so.
I was president as
Mhm.
well, and
Right.
we never got it resolved.
Well, we think we
I
had.
think
We
we-
thought we had it then too.
Okay, well,
You know, we've passed resolutions of support for just about every conceivable topic. You know, Tree City America, for development in Jefferson County, et cetera. I mean, so even if we have no legal authority, could we, consider just passing a resolution, asking that these 8 properties are
9.
not be included? They can just completely say, thank you for your input and tear it up if they want, but we could still pass a resolution. That's my view,
Yeah,
even if we don't have any authority.
and that would help. At least we'd have some support behind us. Because to prove the benefit is very, very difficult. There is a guidebook that we have that the state put out. And in here, it lists, and I'm not going to read them all to you because I don't want your meeting to run late, but it lists all the things that you normally could include in a lake management district, such as maybe my house is a restaurant, so I do benefit from having the lake. Maybe I store piers or boats or something like that. I'm not directly on the water, but yet I receive a benefit because I'm near the lake. But because we receive absolutely nothing, and some of these properties, Jerry Thilgen's by the Presbyterian Church, and he's in it.
That's real piecemeal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
There's
what-
no rhyme or reason
What's
to
your
it.
view that all, what are those, 39 properties in the village?
There's 39 total in the Jefferson side, yes.
Yes, of the village, but only 9 are being taxed. Now, I do know that we were in the middle of annexation at that time. We weren't totally annexed, and so that was why, yeah, we are taxed.
I don't understand, if there are 39 properties in the district, why only 9 are getting taxed?
So those 9 originally were in the town of
To
Oakland.
Oakland, and they
the-
annexed in later.
The Lake District was created. All the parcels made up a portion of the town of Oakland. That's why the process went through Jefferson County and so forth. Then at a later time, after the Lake District was created, the 9 parcels, the lines were redrawn so that 9 parcels were annexed from the town of Oakland to the village of Cambridge.
That still doesn't answer my question. So
So the
lake-
designation of the Lake District designation stuck with the properties.
They
So-
were
There were-
annexed before the creation. Ours was annexed at the time of the creation. I don't know about the other ones.
Except for my dad's.
Your dad's was annexed before.
Well, let's do this. I suppose if the board is willing to consider resolution, I don't think we can draft it tonight. So
No.
let's put it on the agenda for next meeting to consider resolution. In the meantime, I think we need to do some research to see exactly what that resolution can and cannot say, and maybe get a feel for how those lines were drawn, because it looks like it was kind of piecemeal, but
And
that
which
might help.
properties are in the
So-
Lake
Right,
District now?
right.
I'm
Of the
s-
39.
Right.
Again, and I just want to reiterate or see if you can provide clarification for me, Mo, on this one point. So the 30 properties that were originally included in the Lake District,
No, they're not in the district. They're just in the
Okay.
town of Oakland. The district was drawn around the lake.
okay, so.
Yep.
So I heard I heard wrong. There are not 39 properties that are in the Village of Cambridge that are in the Lake District.
There are 39 properties that are in the Village of Cambridge that are in Jefferson County.
County.
Oh, okay.
They use the
The
Jefferson.
So
County.
Jefferson County
Right.
and the Lake
Yep.
District are two different things. I get
Yeah, the
that.
county line was,
Okay.
was
And
the,
and I guess
I get that.
what I'm taking from the conversation is the visual might be beneficial.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
we'll do some research on text for consideration.
Right. So it'd be, yeah.
One clarification, we're talking about police out there. It was only in front of the high school that we talked about. It wasn't any further than that.
That's true.
Well, but the issue at 9/11 though was to clarify that whole
area.
area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that street.
So, right. Well, and Simonson and Blue Jay Way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were
Wow.
mostly concerned with who should come to the high school to do.
No, it was actually a private residence that brought it up.
Okay.
There was a call to the
But I
private.
mean, it was high school
It was
traffic.
near the high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a fairly simple matter. I mean, we've had resolutions of support for who knows what, everything. So we could say a resolution of support asking the Lake Ripley, was it district?
management district.
District to please remove the 8 properties currently being taxed in the Village of Cambridge. That'd be it.
If that's what we wanted to say. But I think we need to research it a little bit more to know that we have grounds to base that on. So, okay, very good. And I'd like
I
to move
think
on.
if you use that Anderson and Kent letter.
Okay,
as
I have
basis,
seen that.
That's got all the statutes listed out and everything
Okay.
in there, so.
Okay, real good. Thanks,
Thank-
Don and Kirsten,
thank
for
you.
coming. Yep.
Love the state, guys, I really love these
Sure you
late
are.
night meetings.
All right.
Bet you missed those.
I
Well,
really.
Don, we've done a better job since you've left. We keep them down.
About keeping them short?
They don't go to
Nice.
midnight anymore.
They don't go to midnight anymore?
No. Past my bedtime.
Well, you're not doing it right. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Good night. Okay, then we're going to move on to new business. Oh, no, we are in new business. I'm sorry. Move on to 8B, Resolution 2015-01, approving a letter of engagement with Ehlers as dissemination agent for issuer continuing disclosure required under a certain rule. Mo, let's keep this short. I think
Yep.
I think this is a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. It does mean additional costs for the village. There's greater SEC reporting requirements. Ehlers is willing to provide those services. It's based on the number of
CDUs.
CDUs. Our current annual fee would be $2,800. Depending on how we restructure the refinancing, this could be reduced. And so I would recommend approval. Ehlers does do a very good job in kind of steering us appropriately in these matters. And there are various strategies to avoid the $2,800 going forward.
Oh, there are. Oh.
In one debt scenario, we lump our existing debt together into a single or smaller number of issuances, and then we basically get away from we lower the number of CDUs and lower our costs that way.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
What benefit, what exact, is this
Right. Why are we doing it?
It's reporting that's required by the federal government. if I-
because of our municipal bond payments?
Right,
Or
right.
is that
Correct.
it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So the marketplace is looking for this information. So just taking steps to try to not report would only put us in a poor light with the bond market in general. One example, the debt. There are entities that we can go through for debt that don't, that aren't basically a CDU, and so then we can try to shrink our costs. But generally, this can be seen as kind of the cost of doing business if you have, you know, the multi-million dollars of debt that a community our size has.
But really, the only way because the annual fee of $2,800 is from 1 to 3.
Right.
So the only way we can ever get rid of this fee is to have 0.
Correct. And one way to have 0 would be to take all the debt and put it with the Board of Land Commissioners of Public
Oh,
Lands
got
of
it.
the state of Wisconsin.
We'd have to change how they're.
There would be bank notes, doing bank notes rather than bonds would be another way. There's various ways of getting it. We wouldn't shrink it to 0, we'd shrink it to, I think,
So do we
$750.
only require the annual filings, so we aren't going to have that extra $500 per CDU required for the filing for quarterly or semi-annually?
Correct. We're at 2,800.
And we know that. We only have to,
Our current debt that we have, the annual fee would be 2,800.
there's only an annual filing, okay? Plus any out-of-pocket expenses.
I've never seen an out-of-pocket expense from Ellers.
Great, okay.
My only.
All the words!
I think this is something basically we have to do, but
I do
one thing
too.
that concerns me is that it's an ongoing arrangement unless we file 90 days ahead or something like
60.
that, 60
Right.
days. She did read it all. And so is that one of those things that can slip through the crack and we're like, oh yeah, here's another $2,800 bill? Or are we going to need it every year anyway?
We
as
would
long
need
as-
it,
Okay.
every year anyway.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And so it's just an added cost
Yeah.
related to debt.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to pass this resolution then.
Also move.
I'll second.
First one of the year, 2015-01.
There you go, Dwight.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
Can we cap it at 2,800, or is it just going to be, we know it's,
By entering into the agreement, it would fluctuate with the number of issuances. that
okay,
are
but at our current
specified.
level, it's at 28.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how we control it. There's no more
Why
debt.
not? How many
All
do we
right.
have right now?
3.
3. So if we get one more, we bump up to the 3,300.
Correct.
Mhm.
Got it.
Okay. Any other questions for all? Hearing none, all in favor say, oh wait, we had a motion a second.
Money.
I think we had a second, didn't we?
Yeah, I second.
It is, yeah, true, it is, there is some cost to it, so roll call, please.
Voice vote.
roll
Christensen,
Yes.
Faley,
Yes.
Waller,
Yes. Ooh.
Hollenbeck,
Yes.
Kumbier.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes.
Unanimous, yes.
Can you put my tone in there?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
There is something odd about it, though.
No, I know, it just irks you. It's more-
They help us accumulate the
money.
debt, and then they help us service it, and they tell the world it's all good.
Yeah,
Whatever.
they make money
A lot
every
of
step of the way.
responsibility.
But all of those filing requirements, I mean, if you have to do it, you have to do it.
Right.
So it's unfortunate we didn't remember we had to do that beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay, so finally, gentlemen, thank you for your patience. I thought we'd be getting you on quicker than this, but
Oh, come
Oh, I
on, you
hope
guys
so.
were having fun in the back there, weren't you?
Right.
Yeah.
item 8C, Vineyards at Cambridge, review of submitted estimated development cost. We have Bill Ranget here with Vineyards at Cambridge Development. And he was here last night presenting
Good for him.
the same topic to our plan commission. We asked him to come today for the village board because there's some of us who are not on plan that would like to hear
Right.
this. So Bill got a
Alright,
dry run
thank
yesterday,
you.
and you can do us
It's our new
do it
house,
again
huh?
today.
As far as the estimated cost for the developers,
One of the studio apartments.
we'll have much tighter numbers within the next 60 days. The construction bid packages are being put together at this point. So those are just the estimates that we've used.
And Bill, if I could just interject, so I made a request of Bill to forward these numbers to us, which, thank you for doing that. I just wanted to put this in the packet to kind of inform the public and inform the village board of kind of where we're at in the process, that there's an anticipation of expenditures of dollars, this calendar year and so forth, and it kind of gives you a sense of the timeline of Bill and the development. So these relate to the public infrastructure and then kind of soft costs, which are engineering and attorney's fees and so forth. So appreciate you, Bill, for providing the.
There's that turn lane credit of 200,000 you'll see in there. That's was to be a village expense. It looks like DOT may not require that turnout lane, but they're now requiring some other things we have to work through with them. But one way or another, we'll do what we have to do to get that done. But yeah, so the total project cost is 3.5 million estimated currently.
Yep.
So Bill, yeah, if you can run us through then where the project currently stands, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm not here to really get any approvals or anything at this point tonight. Just wanted to give you guys an update on where we're at. These two parcels here are both zoned for multifamily, with a total of 72 units is what has been approved for it. We're looking at building on this parcel first. The development will go from this Vineyard Drive this way in phase 1. We'll stub it here at the end of the lot with the multifamily unit here, and then this is all for phase 2. What we're proposing is a 42-unit, 3-story apartment building with underground parking. And this is a 3D rendering of it. The entrance is here, which would actually be facing the southwest. Here is where the underground parking would enter, and then in the front is the parking lot. I'll get to the site plan here. I'm walking you through this kind of quickly, but because you guys want to be out of here before. We'll get out of here before 8:30.
Okay.
So,
I would rather get all of the information and make them all stay. So you just take your time.
you can ask as many questions as you
I
want.
didn't hear this the first time.
I didn't either.
Okay, we're coming in off of Kenseth Way here. This, the Kenseth building is down here a little bit farther to the south. This is going to be a medium, and this is where we're proposing to put the pylons and the gates, which will remain open, though. They're permanent. They're not going to be, can't be activated at all. Then we have a 10-foot easement here, which will be where the vines will be going, which will come up here and around. We're going to do the same thing on this side when we develop this parcel on it. The entrance to the complex will be up off of Vineyard. There are 47 surface parking spots through here, and then there's 42 underground, so 1 per unit.
Okay.
We have a gazebo and a grilling area for it. The landscaping features up front here, that's probably where the sign is, and it'll look nice. I'll describe it. With the mix of units that'll be in here, it's 21 2-bedrooms, 12 1-bedrooms, and 9 studios. The studios will range 541 square feet to 550. The 1-bedrooms will be 790 to 863, and the 2-bedrooms, some are 2-bedroom, 2 bath, some are 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, are 1,100 to 1,284 square feet. Each one has a deck that is not protruding from the building, so they're flush on it. There's also a community room, a workout area, and those are, if I can bring this back up, are sitting in this portion. The office will be here along with, and then on the second floor is where the exercise facility and the community room is, which will overlook the vineyards out that way. We will be needing 2 variances, one for the building height. The building is 42 feet high, and also one for the density on the number of square foot per unit.
And that's for the property, the lot.
The property,
Yeah,
not the-
not in the floor space.
The site is 82,732 square feet, which gets it 1,969 square feet per unit. So we're a little over that. Parking ratios, we're at 2.1 parking per dwelling unit, which fits into the guidelines on it.
With our ordinance.
The gazebo, there was questions about that, about possibly needing a variance on that. It's not big enough. It fits underneath it, square
Okay.
footage wise of what the village currently allows.
Good.
You did talk about an elevator in the center and stairs on either end.
The elevator is in the center of the building, and there's stairs on both ends. The building has to be sprinklered.
Does it? Okay.
Yep. All 4 floors. The elevator run from the garage up. You know, so storage and then biking storage underneath also. See, that didn't take too long. Go for questions. What did I miss from last night?
Pretty well covered it. Our current ordinance is what, 37 feet?
37.
37, and then this is 42, so it's only a 5-foot difference. And to get under it, they'd have to flatten out the roof or even go with a flat roof, and of course, that's never a good idea.
No.
So architecturally, we figure it's...
I think
it's-
it looks better architecturally.
Well,
to
it
have
does.
a higher pitch.
And there's trees that are shown there all along that property that are quite mature. So I think it's actually going to fit in well with the landscape. It's not going to stick out like a sore thumb. So I was a little concerned about that originally. We did talk to our fire department too, as far as fighting fires in a building that tall, which is really one of our reasons for having an ordinance of limiting height. And they said, yeah, they can get to that height. And if there was an issue, there is a hook and ladder and fort that can be here in 10 minutes.
And you said it's gonna be sprinkled?
Yes.
Or 20 minutes.
So do we?
Right.
That's gonna take a specific site water main going to the.
Well,
Right.
and we should be in good shape there because we got the water tower
Right,
right
I
there. And
understand.
yeah.
And that's all been in the designs that Warren has been looking over
Okay.
with the street.
Yep, yep.
The right size pipe coming in.
Okay.
So-
Just another little additional things that the architecturally, this building, and even back to the winery, and all of these are all going to be of similar materials and colors and designs, so it'll look like an entire campus that will complement one another.
Right.
It's not going to look like,
cohesive.
yeah, bits and pieces.
One's not going to be
like one.
contemporary, one's not going to be country, you know. that type of-
That's good.
Right, they're all going to flow. And Travis has some designs.
Yeah. So if you could touch on the rent, what you anticipate for rental rates on these?
The studios, we took the Madison market and subtracted 20% off the Madison market, what it's going at. And the studios are roughly $750 a month. The 1 bedroom's $825, and the 2 bedrooms will be between $11 and $1250,
So is that all inclusive
plus utilities.
plus utilities?
We pay water and sewer,
You pay water and sewer, but heat, electric, got it.
is the tenants.
And parking's included?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do they get one covered and one surface?
They get one underneath.
Oh,
One
and
covered.
surface is on their own, yes. Good.
I mean, there's going to be restrictions that you're not going to be able to change your oil or do your brake jobs in the parking lot. You know, it's not good.
Darn.
You wanna
So,
replace the-
but in the garage you
If-
can't.
Well, if you're in the garage and you're in your spot and you want to do it, you know, that's fine. But we want to, you know,
Yeah.
this, Frank and I are both going to own this building. It's not something that we're building and selling. So it's very important that it stays to the level of what we're anticipating with the winery and
Sure.
the distillery and the rest of the houses.
And it's, right, it's people will see it when they're coming to the winery, so you're
They
definitely
will.
going to
They'll
want
go
to
right, they'll go right by it.
Yep,
Because
exactly.
I got a lot of boards here.
You have a vested interest in making sure it's.
Well, you know, a lot of
The
times
main
when
entrance to the,
And that's
when
good.
you have large apartment buildings, people have boats and trailers and everything else imaginable that they want to put in the parking lot.
well,
We have
there's going to
good
be
storage
some restrictions.
facilities in the
Right.
area, very close.
Ooh, maybe I should buy that property next to the high school and put up something for storage.
So,
Good
and
plan.
you know, and if your car has, you know,
I know.
currently on some of the
Coon
properties
blows
that we
in
have
your
now, your
backyard.
car has a flat tire, it's got to get fixed or it's got to get moved. You know, I mean, it just snowballs if you let
Mhm.
something go.
Yep.
Right.
We understand.
I don't think your 2 requests are unreasonable, the variances.
Okay.
Should, and our building inspector took a look at that, and he thought
Yeah.
they were doable. He did have some comments that he made, and you saw those. I think they're in our packet, but nothing that can't be addressed.
And we have to go
Yep.
through zoning.
Right.
First, zoning
Yeah,
board.
yeah.
Yep.
to be some-
Zoning Board of Appeals.
Yep. And then back to planning, and then back to you.
Right, that's just what I was gonna ask, because generally, you know, it comes back through the recommendation, so.
Yep.
Yeah, the
Okay,
final-
just trying to keep you guys informed on what we're doing out there. This building, we're hoping to start in May. The winery, actual tasting room, hospitality room is projected for July or August. And then if Travis, everything works out with him, he will start also in May, his building. So there'll be quite a bit of stuff going on out there.
When do you start planting the grapes?
End of April, first part of May.
This year?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, what are the mechanics behind, is it the zoning board of appeals?
It's a zoning board first, and then it goes to the appeals if it's.
It's still a
denied.
recommendation though, right?
Their action is final.
Oh, okay.
And so then there's statutory requirements that, the project will have to meet, and there are vacancies. I believe, Steve, you have the vacancy list with you tonight. There are vacancies on that board, so there are sufficient people for a meeting to be held with a quorum if all of the current appointees attend.
Well, then, this is strictly an informational meeting
Yep.
then, the
Yes.
really,
Yep.
right?
Right.
It's not a village board decision as whether the variances are
Okay.
granted. Yeah.
Good enough.
We just haven't been here in a while.
Hey, good deal.
One other quick point, with the, Travis has some more better diagrams, with the winery and the distillery, the entrance to that is going to be right in this area, almost probably directly across from where the entrance is to the apartment building.
Okay.
So, I mean, like, to your point, you have to drive by it to get to it.
So,
Okay.
Bill, if you could touch on the management, how's that going to work?
The management will be, my management company will do the leasing and managing along with the maintenance crews, snow plowing, and yard work.
So you're not worried about filling a 42-unit rental?
We've looked at
talked about
36,
that.
42, and 48 units,
Uh-huh.
and this is where we feel the most comfortable at. We also have it built in 18 months to fill it, though.
Wow.
So-
18 months? Wow.
Yeah, it's not going to get filled overnight.
No, I think filling it in 18
It's-
months is
it's-
great.
Well,
The
year
amount
and a
of
half.
buzz and the amount of excitement about this winery
Mm-hmm.
is pretty high. And
I-
we're
There's
anticipating that.
I know I'm
definitely a
excited.
need for, and maybe that's what you're going to
I
speak
was
to,
gonna
Linda.
say
Go
that
ahead.
I've actually had inquiries already about renting.
Yeah, there are some rentals in the village here, but they're generally in kind of rough shape for what you pay. So having
Yeah,
some
I
high quality
I think
apartments.
the rental is reasonable too.
Right,
Yeah,
They
I
are.
think so.
They're less than Madison,
Wow.
correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yep.
20% less.
Right, and I think that we have a lot of young people that would like to stay here in the community or come back to the community that can't afford to because there's no rentals. They're not ready to purchase a home yet, they can't afford that, but they would like to rent here in someplace nice. So I think that we're going to be catering to them. Well, when we were between houses at one point, we could find nothing.
I would
Good.
have been standing in the superintendent's office when someone out at the lake called and said they wanted to rent their house.
That's how it happens.
Yeah. It's kind of word of mouth.
We'll probably be back within the next 60 days to talk about the condominium portion of it. We're here, which is designed for, or approved for 18 units. I'm not sure we're going to get to 18 there, but there's been quite a bit of activity with those also. And if that's the case, we're kicking around the idea of adding more condos in this lot rather than a multifamily. Just, we'll see how, playing it a little bit by ear.
Now,
I
the
mean, if-
condos are gonna be, what, a single building? And then?
No, they're going to be multiple buildings. Whether we've got a couple different drawings, some with two-unit buildings, some with 6-unit buildings.
Wow.
So
Okay.
we're trying to, 2-unit building doesn't have to go through the state process. Anything over a 2-unit building has to get state approvals, which causes a little bit more
Right.
cost in it.
Oh, yeah.
And we're trying to decide whether we want to get keep it a little bit more rural than urban.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things we got to try to.
That'd be our
balance.
vote, that'd be our vote, but.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
my vote.
But it's your money.
Great, thank you.
I'll turn it over to Travis.
Yeah, so then, yeah, just as thank you, Bill.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
As a little bit of background here, I think it was just basically a chance meeting between Bill and Tom or Travis. And Travis Hasse here is owner of the Travis Hasse Distilling Company out of Pewaukee. And he's the gentleman that makes apple pie, cherry pie, and cow pie. And he has an interest in developing a distillery along with the winery on
Which I think is great.
on a portion of that property. And so he, along with the winery, approached us with this idea, and it's come together pretty quickly here, but it's pretty exciting. So
Yep,
Travis, we'll turn it over to you, and you can give us the rundown.
for sure. Thank you very much. Again, I'm Travis Hasse, and thank you for your time. Little history about myself, since it's obviously new to you guys, and a little bit of an introductory. I am, my family owns the Missouri Tavern, if you've ever heard of that, out in kind of town of Springfield. It's actually an art sketching that's on the front of all the bottles. So actually made famous for May Meffert, who was the sole owner, operator, and bartender till she was 101 of the Missouri Tavern. So when we took it over, it was not in operation for a couple of years, but we wanted to keep her same charm. So I always call it like we took Nike and cleaned it up a little bit. If Nike was failing, obviously it's not. And kept to her same ambiance, So originally I'm from Monroe, Wisconsin. I went to school in lacrosse. I played football and lacrosse. Then I graduated from Winona State with a business degree, did education at lacrosse, but always had a spark in the business arena. Sold rocks as paperweights out of my parents' house as $1 a piece so I could buy baseball cards. So the entrepreneur spirit has always definitely been in my realm. So, but originally I started with Hasse's Apple Pie. Homemade apple pies have been made for a year on the liquor standpoint, or hard ciders. They're a big holiday tradition. So we started to sell apple pie shots at the Missouri Tavern. Well, it took to a good liking. There's a lot of people that were interested in it. We used to make it with a grain-neutral spirit that we would purchase, and I just looked into the legalities a little bit. We were kind of on that gray fence, if you want to call it, but not really doing anything illegal. It was just kind of like a big gray territory how you would prepare it. So I looked into the avenue of could I find somebody to make it, or could I make it myself legally? And that was back in 2006. Lo and behold, to open a distillery in the state of Wisconsin was a hard process. Everybody wanted it to be a beer state way back in the day, and there was a lot of lobbying. There's a gentleman by the name of Guy Rayhorse, who now owns Great Lakes Distillery in Milwaukee, who kind of spearheaded a little bit of the legal lobbying legalities, and lo and behold, now there's starting to be some distilleries popped up. I had already started my brand, and I was actually producing in Michigan because I wanted to keep it in the Midwest. And then I was out in Las Vegas at a trade show, and I met a gentleman by the name of Tom Moss, which is where TM Projects come from. He and I did a TV show, or a Hot Brands TV show with actually the actor Dan Aykroyd. Us three were brand owners that were featured, which is kind of nice, So. But meeting Tom, he's from Wisconsin. Mo and Linda have both met Tom. He was here, last week? I think we came in to look everything, and now he's actually out in California. So he and I, got together, and we split. He started his brand, and I started my brand at the same time. So what we did is we kind of split costs, trade show costs, etc. So that's how we became good friends, and we didn't charge each other, obviously, to do each aspect.
You might let them know what that brand is.
Yeah, well, it's a little brand called RumChata, if anybody's ever heard
I
of
remember the
RumChata.
first time I had it in Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was so excited.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, and which is a great story, and we both are. For the first 3 years, I know I outsold Tom, and I used to tell him I'm glad I have my brand and not your brand, and he rubs that in a little bit now. But no, great people. It's him and his father, Dwayne, is 87 years old. Both of them have a tremendous amount of experience in the alcohol regime. Like I said, Dwayne is 87 years old. He built the USDP plant, which is up in Princeton, Minnesota. You know, they make UV vodka, et cetera, you know, owned by the Johnson family. He was the president of that company. He used to make and was the president and VP of a little company called Kahlua, and was involved with the production of that. He also built the distilleries for Fleischmann's, you know what I mean? So he's been into a pretty heavy gamut. His son Tom worked for Jack Daniels, and he also was the VP of sales for Jim Beam. You know, so there's some pretty heavy hitters of some brands. You know, he did a brand when he worked for Beam called Puckers. You know, obviously is a pretty nice large brand that's out there. So the sales and marketing and production aspect, and how I got involved with the family. I'm still trying to change my name to Travis Moss instead of Travis Hazy. But you know, lo and behold, it's Tom and I became together, and we partnered up when RumChata took off, and we developed our own sales company. So the distribution is where we actually excel on sales and marketing for our brands, and obviously come up with very neat concepts. That sales company is based out of Chicago, you know, actually, you know, just north of Chicago. So my brand, so that's, you know, obviously how we're working together. So now our new idea that we want to do is we want to build a craft distillery. We have a production facility in Pewaukee, Wisconsin that actually started out at 10,000 square feet, and it's up to 135,000 square feet. But that's a true bottling facility. There's nothing artistic about it. It's a big warehouse with rotary bottling lines. I always say it's like Laverne and Shirley. You know, like if you see it on TV. There's nothing that you want to go see. The idea that we want to do is we want to get into the art distilling bourbons and whiskeys, and you know, and some gin and vodkas, you know, from that standpoint, just because you can get into them a little bit quicker. But we want to make a place where it's good to come see. You know, it's a well-designed, you know, structured place. And with Tom and his dad being 87 years old, we also want to gain that wisdom from his father, obviously for the years, and, you know, keep passing that down into the tradition as well. You know, and his boy Nick is going to come on and be actually the master distiller within the property too. So it's a good overall concept. My brand obviously will be showcased there as well. You know, building wise, we're not, you know, it's kind of amazing. When I started this concept with Tom a little over a year ago, you know, we were talking maybe, you know, $400,000 or $500,000 for a building, get in there and buy some equipment. To me meeting Bill, actually I know his son Ryan is how we actually got introduced to each other. And you know, we've upscaled that a little bit in our ideas. You know, it's gone from a distillery type brew pub, you know, type thing that we want to do, but we don't want to be in the restaurant business. We're already in the bar business from that standpoint. And we want to make good spirits. That was always our showcase, is we always make good products, good quality products. And then if we knew we made good spirits and we put it into the right community, the right area, I like to call it a sexiness, is a kind of a realm to design things and not do it on the chintzy area. We can create a great ambiance, and people will come, and that's going to help this, you know, market the idea of true Wisconsin-made products. You know, it's not a redistillation or anything of that nature. We actually want to make our products on site and go from there. But obviously, with the capability and the sizes, when you walk into a true production distillery like Heaven Hill, if you go down there, they're you know, some of the best bourbon makers in the world, and Buffalo Trace, they're on 300, 400 acres. They're all barrel aging houses area. It's a dirty process. You know, them big, large, industrial type distilleries, and not really dirty, but it's just, you know, they're large and they've been around for years. Yeah, and you know, yesterday somebody asked us about how dirty, you know, is it stink, etc. You know, the best analogy or closest distillery I can tell you to go to is the ethanol plant in Monroe, Wisconsin, at Badger Ethanol. I mean, really, ethanol is all it is. It's alcohol, and there's a valve that you can turn that it dilutes with gasoline or diesel fuel to make it non-portable, so you can't drink it. And that's basically what the government sets up. But that is a distillery, you know, from that standpoint. So this area is, you know, it's on the downturn, and, you know, bottling equipment wise and everything of that nature. The nice thing we have, and this is what makes actually this location nice for us, is, you know, Pewaukee's only 38 miles away. If we got to do some bottling of if, you know, brands start taking off, that we don't have to keep growing that footprint. We can keep our distilling equipment there, and we can use totes and tankers to take equipment there and bottle from there. Yep. The nice thing is, it's when I met Bill and Frank, the nice thing is even on the winery side, you know, we have our bottling facility that can actually bottle wine as well. You know, we're bonded and, you know, to bring in wine. So it'll be a good working relationship, working with Frank and Bill on that standpoint when we get to that development. As you can see, there's a sheet that I handed out to you guys that actually kind of lays out the platform. So if you took this piece there, you know, this is kind of a drawing of just a conceptual area of what we would do, you know, on the property. So the building that we have laid out at the top of the property is actually a 20,000 square foot footprint for a building. It's about 250 feet away from the tasting facility, you know, complement right across the side there. So, like I said, you know, nice thing, and they complement each other. And if you go to the next page, just for color-wise, that's kind of the overall concept about the whole, as Bill related earlier, about the campus of Arena, and trying to draw, you know, it looks like it works together, you know, it complements together. And it's not going to be, you know, a word that gets tossed around a little bit is chintzy. It's, you know, it's not going to be a Taj Mahal like we're walking in the vineyards, you know, of California that have been there for how many years and years and years. But it's going to look nice. It's going to look respectable. And I know for Tom, you know, for Tom Moss too, that's a big part for him, is obviously he wants it to be nice and, you know, to come up and, you know, be proud of what it is. So it's kind of a, you know, a quick overview of who I am, who Tom is. What TM Project is obviously the company that would spearhead that. And obviously I would be the liaison and the president to represent that. And, you know, Tom's going to be a part of it too. You know, but Tom's doing some other things, and this is obviously, he's given me a job to do something, which is a good thing, you know,
He's more the
obviously.
financial investor end of it.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And,
But not a silent partner either.
and not a silent partner either, no. He's a very good person. You know, obviously you can read his resume. You know, he's done a lot of good things, but he lights up a room. He's 6'7", you know what I mean?
Whoa.
And he went to University of Wisconsin. He played football there for a couple of years. His father went to Wisconsin as well, so they got a lot of ties to here. You know, born and raised in Shawano, Wisconsin too. So they're you know, definitely been a great family for me to work with. So.
Could you touch on a little bit about you and Frank working together?
Yep. So at the beginning, kind of when Bill and I and Frank were kind of talking to help the process along just a little bit more, so Frank can concentrate on putting up the tasting room, which is a big part of what they're doing to draw people here for weddings, etc. I know Frank's excited about orchestras and stuff like that, which is great. What we agreed to do is that we're going to put up a little bit larger building at the beginning, and invest into that, and then Frank could use 5,000 to 6,000 square feet of that to start his winery process. So at the same time, so we can kind of move him along a little bit quicker, and he can concentrate on getting the tasting room up, which is a big part for us, and then in return, we'll be able to showcase our products in his tasting room. So you know, already it's working out to be a great partnership with myself, Bill, and Frank, and, you know, obviously dealing with Linda and Mo with the village, and you know, bringing Tom up. You know, they both have met him already too, like I said before, and like that'll help speed up the process, and I think will be a great resource for Frank as well. You know, I know Frank's a very smart person. You know, he's done well. You know, obviously done, you know, with the companies that he's done. Bringing our expertise in a little bit, it's not that far-fetched. You know, wine, beer, and you know, distilled spirits. You know, you talk to old distillers, they talk about making beer, which is the mash for making spirits. It's, you know, it's kind of a similar process.
And you could even distill some of the wines and make brandy, I understand,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
Potentially. down
Yep,
the road.
for sure. So really a nice application. Yep.
So just to clarify in my own mind,
Yep.
in your building, are you thinking of something like where tours would come through and see the process?
Yep.
Like through big window panes and that
Yep.
kind of thing?
Yep, absolutely. You know, I'd like to do something where you could see the columns with glass. You know what I mean? Because that's what people like to see. When you walk in, it's like, where's the still? You know, we may not, you know, at the beginning, it's like everything else. We're putting up a nice show. You know, I always tell Tom, it's like kind of the way this is going, I'm gonna give you a Ferrari with a 4-cylinder motor in it. You know, at the beginning, just financially, it just
So that's
to
what
keep.
you're ultimately working toward.
Yep, yeah, and we'll, don't get me wrong when I say that, we'll get nice equipment. And in the distilling arena, when I started, there were, gosh, I mean, it was 87 and 97 DSPs. That's distilled spirits permits, and that's what the government gives you the authority that you can manufacture alcohol. Now it's pushing 800, and that was only been, you know, how many years? So it's a thing that's becoming, you know, I'm not gonna say it's called trendy, but people are going to the arena of, they just don't want the fly-by-night, and it's with beer too, you know what I mean? It's, you know,
Craft beer.
New
Craft
Glarus
beers,
was
yeah.
able to prove that back when they were ahead of the craft, you know, arena where, you know, Bud Light and Miller Lite are great products, but, you know, they'd rather drink a little more flavorful beer made, you know, made at home, so.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
So how much of the vineyard this building displaced then?
They're looking at parceling off about just under 5 acres, about 4.8
Yeah.
acres. And that's shown on this this view that he gave us.
Yep, Scott, on that drawing right there, then
That
you
drawing.
can see,
It's right
right
here.
here is the line that would come over.
So the winery would actually probably sell this parcel to the distillery, I believe how it
Yeah.
might happen. And so they would work there, also maybe expanding to the west eventually. And then the winery could help, you know, could use some of the storage space and the tasting rooms so they could kind of coordinate
Yeah.
their
Well,
activities.
so their big push can be the tasting room to start to get people out here.
Right.
That's what makes this so attractive, because Frank was going to have to first start on the production facility in order to have product to put into the tasting room. Now he has the time to concentrate on that, which will demonstrate to new tourism and to the
Right.
you know, that whole development. Everything's going to just perk up and be more a better advantage for
Really
timing for all of
symbiotic.
us. Yes,
Yeah.
bring it all together.
Right.
And the nice thing too is even on, you know, since we have the DSP over there, is that, you know, looking at extending that DSP over to here, which saves a lot of federal paperwork and
Yay.
time, et cetera. You know, then, and even working with Frank to piggyback off some of that stuff. And once we get to that point, I mean, we're gonna have to figure out the legalities of it. But like I said, it's a good marriage per se. That's like when I met Bill. It's moved along a little rather quickly. It's, you know, because
With my
we're
alarm.
working.
Since
Yeah,
Christmas.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're-
it has been since Christmas.
yeah, you know, we're
Wow.
working on some other, you know, and, you know, just obviously I've been doing my research for a while, and, you know, this one seems like a great fit, so.
I just, yeah, you probably know where I'm going with this.
Well, I'm just gonna jump in real quick. Travis hasn't been looking at doing a distillery since Christmas.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no, no, I
Yeah.
don't, no. The fact that you guys have gotten together
no,
and
that's
you've
right.
all
Here,
figured this
yeah. I
out and it's,
understand.
no, yeah, I
He's
got
been
that.
looking for a year. In fact, he's looked
Right.
at other sites and is still considering other sites, I
Yeah.
believe. And
But I mean, the fact that you've, you know, found us at Christmas time and now you're in front of us, I mean, that's,
Yeah,
it says a lot about Cambridge.
yeah.
That's what I meant.
Oh,
Or
for
Bill.
sure.
I
Or
know, it's
Linda.
all
Or
Linda.
Linda and Bill, yeah.
Well, I tried buying some football tickets off them, that's how I met them.
Were you
successful?
What's that?
Yeah.
Were you successful?
No, I don't know, not yet. So,
So, and just to touch on it too, they are looking for a financial support from the village.
I saw that. I saw
Okay,
you,
so-
you touched on the topic close to
Yeah.
my heart.
I was just gonna
Okay.
say, and now what's the ask?
Yep.
300,000 total, but 150,000 up front, with maybe 50,000 of that being an in-kind, such as a water main. Village could cover the cost of the main, perhaps. 100,000 cash, and then the other 150 could be over time, kind of a pay-as-you-go sort of thing. So the details of that have to be worked out.
Right,
And of
and-
course, my concern.
Go ahead.
My concern is, of course, you know, here's a well-financed, we assume well-financed operation, making a fairly high-end product, and so why do we need to put public dollars toward it? But the bottom line is, there are many communities that would like to draw this sort of business to them, and they're talking to other communities. And so it basically comes down to incentive, you know, to if we want to attract them over another community, we have to pay to play, basically. And it shows investment by the community too, that if we want them here badly enough, we're willing to go out and make an investment in them. So it's something we have to think about seriously. We're already at our 80% debt limit.
We're well over that. We have to be. We just borrowed, what, 450 out of that,
Well, that was included in
That was
that.
included in that.
That was factored into I thought, the 80%.
I thought it was too.
I think we're over 80.
But at any rate, we're at a high level, and most of us on this board are not real comfortable with going above that. So whatever we come up with, we're going to have to find a way to finance it outside of the normal bonding. I understand Mo knows some ways that you can do borrow from private entities, and it doesn't show up against your limit because the surety comes from the private entity. So we have to investigate these other opportunities, but that's something as a board we're going to struggle with.
Yeah.
Linda had something, then we'll take.
Steve's correct in that I think we do need to compete, but I can tell you from my time working with Travis and meeting with Tom that we're making a combined, this is a partnership, again, just like we've been partnered with the Vineyard. It isn't just a meeting of the minds and yes, he'll slap a distillery down and he's going away. This is a chance for us together to build something. And the investment that we're looking at, I have explained our financial situation to Travis. They understand where we are. And what we want to do, and that's why this agreement is sitting in front of you, is we want the approval of the village board to examine the possibilities on how we can work together to create something that's mutually beneficial, not only in the long run, but financially in the beginning. One of the problems when you have an aged product is your downtime. You put a lot of investment up front for future investment coming
It's like
in.
4 years.
And that's what we would like to be able to help them with that. We're looking at we're examining a shorter time frame, and we are examining the TIF. And it's bare land right now, so we're not losing any property value in establishing a TIF. And so what we want to do is, and we're promising in this agreement that we will examine those TIFs and how we might be able to structure it. If some other creative way to finance comes up, we'll examine that as well. But we're promising Travis and Tom that we will do our best to create a mutually beneficial financial arrangement that will not exceed a total of $300,000. That is the top. And not exceed $150,000 upfront. So we're looking at that, and they're looking at a project of a value of probably $1.5 million plus jobs. And so we have to look at what our investment would bring to that total. And it's going to happen more quickly than we first thought.
Increasing the tax base
And
and
increasing our
everything
tax
else.
base.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of advantages coming, however, at the disadvantaged time of our tight financial restrictions.
Right.
So we want to examine those things.
Okay. What I wanted to bring up is partially what she said, but at the planning commission, we made a recommendation for the village board to do exactly what she's talking about. Letting the staff work on it, find out how, where, and if it can be done within the constraints.
Figure out how we can do it.
Okay.
So we would need a motion on that, wouldn't we, Mo?
Well, that's the memo of understanding.
Right.
here.
That's
I mean, all it is, it says to consider establishing. It doesn't say to establish.
Correct.
I have a couple things. Bill, you can probably clear this up. When we, over the years, we had a lot of people come and want to do something with that land. I mean, a lot. Every screwball idea you can possibly imagine. And we chose you guys because we really liked your plan. And I just want to make sure that we didn't give the land up for an industrial park. This is like your one single modification then, right?
One of the ladies on the planning commission last night asked about a brewery. Whether a brewery would fit in that. If that's something that we're working, we probably end up down in the commercial site level. We also have to keep a certain number of acres in A.
Right, that's what I'm
Absolutely.
talking about.
Okay.
And to start here, it's gonna be at least 3 to 5 years before he's gonna be doing any type of expansion. And his expansion is mainly for storage. The winery facility on that mark, on that drawing there, to the east of the 20,000 square foot building, that's what Frank's gonna eventually build for his own wine production.
Right. So, we're not looking at any more acreage being taken up by manufacturing facilities, a new partner, that kind of thing.
What we see for the expansion, that's as far as you can go with it.
Correct. Yep. The way that you're looking there.
Right.
Yep. Yep. And then, if you look at the land going back through there where those trees are, so if we would do like some aging warehouses, it would be storage, is what it would be. And they would fit, obviously, from that standpoint. And it's just where the barrels sit as they age. The climate goes up and down, and you let them.
That's the additional square footage that you need for.
Yep. But even if you look.
Yeah,
To the west, there could be more.
Yep. Even if, like, if you put a trail here and put a barrel warehousing through there.
Like over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is what.
But
is
that'd be
that
down the
makes
road.
sense to you.
Yeah.
Where would it be?
Yeah.
Over here, I would
On the
assume.
west side of
The west side
The
of the
west
trail.
side of the trees.
Right.
Yeah. And even as you say too, Scott, even for us as well, it's we could go into an industrial park, and that's not the setting that we want either. We don't want to be an industrial park, type
Right.
setting. It's not when I say the sexy ambiance, that's not what you think about when you think of a nice, craft
Right.
distillery.
That's
for
not
this.
what we had in mind when we
Right.
committed the land.
But the village does own 35 acres to the other side of 134, and I'm sure Linda's probably touched on that. So
Mhm.
if it ever got to the point, and that's kind of an area we're thinking of more like an industrial type
Right.
Absolutely.
or a high-tech type thing. So if there was
Yeah.
ever a need for land over there, maybe that could work
That could
too
be
for
possibly in the future,
you. Yeah, rather than take a vineyard.
for sure.
Yeah.
Now, in regard to, we're going to have to, I don't mind exploring the idea, obviously, but we've got to take a hard look because ultimately, we can't look at projections. We don't. People who were in the housing market 10 years ago know better than that, and so we have to look at it from a worst case scenario because, as Mo has pointed out, no matter what, we have no LLC here. Our bonds will be paid if we have to lay off everybody but one person to open the door. You know what I mean? And having just gone through our budget system, we barely squeak by without a layoff. In my mind. So I just want to make, we really have to have because the more money you borrow without an increase in revenue, somewhere along the line, your debt payment structure is going to rise, and that will be paid your fault, my fault, nobody's fault, and we gotta think in worst case scenario. And thank you, because I saw your comment on there. I thought, Steve, you were after my heart.
I was thinking of you, Scott. But the whole thing is, you look at that $1.5 million they're going to invest in the first year. There's
Right.
tax revenue that comes from that. That's
That
what
equates
was the
about
figure,
$33,000 a year in
33,000.
taxes.
So that's
Plus, the winery is going to be building the tasting hospitality first at least $1.5 million,
Right.
rather than a production facility, which would be $500,000.
Mhm.
So there's more improvements getting to the tax roll quicker.
Accelerates it quicker.
Right.
And with those tasters, food, people coming to town, all of that stuff.
Weddings.
Buying
Yeah,
gas.
just
That's
quicker.
buying gas, staying in the motel.
And bringing Cambridge back as a destination spot.
A destination.
Where the
Yeah.
pottery
Used to be.
Where Row Pottery
And it has,
used to
that's
do that.
that's one main thing that I like it here. It's like I've said before. It's like we go to industrial. If we wanted to expand off the back of Midwest Custom Bottling, we could throw stills up in there if we wanted to. But there's just no draw. It's just not what the concept is equated to. Yeah. So.
yeah, want to be that destination.
Well, I have no problem exploring the possibility to see what's possible. I trust Mo's judgment on that, so to give us
I do too.
some accurate numbers and see what happens. That's my view.
Mhm.
You want to put that in form of a motion, or
Yeah.
you want to go that far?
What's the motion?
To approve,
motion.
okay,
Go
go ahead,
ahead.
Mary.
I make a motion to authorize the staff to proceed in their discussions on the feasibility of the distillery project.
Okay, and
For-
to authorize me to sign the letter of intent, or what, memorandum of
Memorandum of
understanding?
understanding.
Memorandum of understanding.
Or-
I'll second that.
You'll put that in there? Yeah,
And-
okay,
Yeah, what he said.
okay. Not to put words in your mouth, but.
Motion and a second.
So basically what this is a vote to move forward with this concept, to sign this agreement. It doesn't really commit us to anything at this point dollar-wise, but it's to take the next step to develop that then developer's agreement.
Correct.
So I assume though that there'll be some expense to that as far as, or are we,
We'll try to do that as inexpensively as possible. I think we've had some experience now,
Mhm.
and working with Travis and Tom. I'm assuming that Mo and I can probably draft the initial with all the concepts in there.
Okay.
And once we all approve of that, then we could take it to Mary.
Okay.
And have her
so,
fine tune it
so
legally.
good. So we're basically committing Linda's time and Mo's time, but
Correct.
basically they're already paid staff, so there's no
At least that's,
additional
is
funds.
that okay with you?
That's my understanding.
And,
Okay.
and so there'll be another opportunity to view this draft developers agreement before we take it to Mary for final review. So at this point, we're not committing any funds other than staff time to move forward and develop this developers agreement, draft developers agreement. So
And-
that's
and,
kind of where we're at.
Yeah, and I'd like it in the minutes that we discussed, there are no other plans to, use up any more ag land in the parcel.
Okay. I mean, that's not part of the motion, but.
No, please mention it in the
But
minutes.
just, Frank and I think this is going to be a wonderful addition to the project.
It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
It sounds
know-
like it fits.
I don't know if it's going to sell any more lots, well, it's going to sell one because
Yeah.
Travis. But it's really going to make it all come together a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, Travis is a biker, by the way, so he likes the bike path.
I'm a big cyclist, so I'll
Cyclist.
be going around the bike trail over and over.
Yeah, lots of bike trails here.
Yeah.
Would it
Yep,
make any
discussion.
sense to put this through on a voice vote so everybody knows how we voted?
You can always call for it. I don't know that we need it, but if you want, go
Well,
ahead.
I think we
You'd like a
should.
voice vote? Okay.
Yeah, it's never out of
Roll
order.
call?
It's never out
Roll
of
call
order.
rather
Roll
versus
vote.
voice? Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion, a second to move forward with this proposal.
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Cumbier,
Yes.
Allenbeck,
Yes.
Waller,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Christensen.
Yes.
Stress.
Yes, unanimous.
Passes unanimous.
So,
Good.
thank you.
Any other questions?
Travis?
I don't know if you showed them got voted the business person.
Yes, I gave them
Yeah.
all a copy.
I'd
so
have
it's
spiked
all
my
there.
ego there a little.
Was
What great
You
timing.
know.
What's this? Got
Thank you.
voted
I appreciate it.
business
Did you
person
see,
here?
oh, no, right here, Steve.
Thank you, Scott.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you
Travis.
go.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
It didn't
Hi.
fall down.
So in business, especially the week.
You bet.
Good way to meet.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care.
When you get ready
Bill,
to do the
thanks-
brew pub
thanks
out
for your
there,
time.
let me know.
What's that?
She said the brew
I have
pub.
a son at the Culinary Institute, that's what he wants to do in his job.
Brew pub?
If you're ready for tasters,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
only live like just I'm the closest one.
Perfect.
Yeah,
You could-
I can
yeah.
crawl.
And
You know,
Oh,
I forgot to tell you guys that I am working with a microbrew and an investor right now for them both looking at downtown, so.
Good. Good.
So we'll corner the market.
Like I joked before, and the next thing we do, it'll be a rehab center.
I know, really.
And then when they
You're right,
legalize
Scott.
marijuana, we'll have to get the grow house down.
Now, wait a minute, wait a minute.
I'll explain later. These guys know my story, but I actually don't drink myself.
Oh, that's funny.
I read
Oh, ironic.
Good night,
See you,
Travis.
Travis. Take care. That's interesting.
I think,
He is, yeah. He's something. So, okay, very good. Move forward then. Our last item of new business is Village President appointment of a temporary transportation safety working group. This initiative actually came from the school district initially with concerns of students crossing Main Street up near High and Lawn in that area. And And so when they saw our safe crossing going in at Pleasant
Mhm.
Street, I think they kind of liked it and thought, can we do a similar thing further up? And of course, DOT might have something to say about that. But in the meantime, they want to look at kind of the overall safety, transportation safety for cars, pedestrians, bikers, the whole thing. And so they asked for a group to get together. I know Mo attended one meeting with them already. And so out of that discussion came the idea of appointing a working group. And you have in your packet, it would be myself or a designee. Bernie Nicolay, our superintendent, school district, would participate. Another appointee of his, Ken Kemmler, Keystone Grill. He's always been talking about how fast traffic goes, and he'd like to see it slow down
I agree.
for pedestrians. And so we talked to him, and he said, "Yep, I'm in." Derek Nelson, who's the
Very
owner
clever,
of
Steve. Very clever.
owner of the Camrock Cafe and Sport. He's also in on it with biking safety and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Christiane Lang has a young daughter who bikes to school, and she owns a business downtown, and she's expressed concern with me about how does her daughter get to school safely and that sort of thing. So we talked to her, and she said, "I'm in." And so, of course, our police officer, Tony Reynolds, this is near and dear to his business and heart. And then our engineer, either Warren Myers directly or maybe Brian, mentioned something to Brian Burkholz. No, what's his last? Bergstrom.
Yes.
Yeah, Bergstrom, who's kind of taken over for Warren now at Tonica. He's the young engineer that helped us with our safe crossings. And so he may participate
Those
as
safe
well.
crossings are a surprise to some people, though, when you
Mhm.
push the button right now, especially at Pleasant
I've
Street.
seen you use it.
Oh, they're not aware of it yet, so they get shocked when they see it, is that what?
Yeah. Oh my God, we got to stop.
They come around that curve.
I use it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. People will learn.
That's right.
I wish they were red flashing lights instead of amber, but I guess that's just the way DOT requires it. But that's so you still have to
So
wait
they're
for
not
people.
stop.
It's not
Yeah.
stop.
But
it's-
there's nothing wrong with them, and
No.
What's the cost of a safe crossing?
Ooh, they're not cheap.
They're not cheap.
Well-
no?
I think it was it was more than $6,000. I don't know. I think it was $10,000.
I think so. It
Somewhere
was-
in that
it was
ballpark.
Double figures.
5 or 10,000?
About more like 10. Yeah.
Is that what the overhead?
No, that was more.
Those are
Oh,
more.
I understand that,
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're costly.
but
But-
if it'd save a life,
Yeah.
it's,
True. Yeah.
that's a drop in the bucket.
Right. So, so at any rate, I think this is a good thing to get some discussion going on it,
You bet.
and maybe apply for some grant money too. There's, I know, federal safe, what do they call it?
Safe
Sa-
routes to
safe routes to
school.
school.
Safe routes to school. Thank you. There's money for that and whatnot, so they're going to be applying for some of that, and through this group. So I guess what we're looking for is. Actually, this is just for information. I
Right.
have to appoint somebody, and I won't be doing it here tonight, but I may participate myself, or if there's anyone interested, we might. The good news on this one is that we have a deadline of May 15th. It's going to be, so it'll be a few meetings. I'm envisioning maybe twice a month, once to twice a month for the next 3-4 months, and then we're done. I'll produce a report May 15th. So, it's not going to drag on, so. If we can get somebody, I'll talk later. We don't need to get somebody tonight, but just to fill you in on where that's at. Correspondence, we have a
Mr.
nice
President?
letter. Yes.
Interrupt you a minute. Are we gonna have Patty?
Oh.
in the discussion?
I was looking for a place for her.
Yeah, Patty, I looked up a couple times. Thank you. And you've just kind of been sitting patiently.
Because I have some questions.
Okay.
I have the answers.
Oh, very good. Patty Strobish with the library.
Okay, things are going
Thank you.
along well. We, in December, Mo and I approved the last change order that we have on the plate right now. And we've said no to more change orders. We're trying not to do that. So we've approved all of them that have been needed. We reduced one of them by $19,000.
Wow.
Because we got the EFS man and the Mason man to combine their tents, only one charge, and so they're going to do it together. They agreed to do that together,
Wow.
so that was
Good.
helpful.
Well done.
originates kind of Ted's idea
we're using municipal gas source, and so hopefully saving some dollars.
Right.
Those costs are weather dependent. but-
versus using either fuel oil as a heat source
or propane.
propane.
Right.
And plus, we get a better rate that we're using natural gas.
Sure. Just so they're not running their heaters at 80 degrees and working in
Well, no,
t-shirts.
They're running, they keep it at a certain temperature.
Yeah,
Right.
I think they're,
At
yeah.
a certain temperature,
Yeah.
that will work.
Okay, very
And
good.
then we didn't have to put that extra shield on the roof because we didn't go with the shingles that needed that.
Oh.
So we can shingle in the spring, correct, Mo? That saves $7,000.
Nice.
So that was good. We had a construction meeting last Thursday. Everything is on schedule. They should be drywalling soon. We went in and they actually asked us to come in and ask where we needed reinforcements for TVs or monitors on before they get the drywall up. So they were, we did put 5 different areas in that. Everything seems to be going well.
Good,
No surprises.
okay. Did
Questions?
those past change orders get resolved, the ones that we were kind of, yes?
We have 8 total and they're all approved now.
Okay,
and
very good.
The total is 131,000, but it could be less because of the, how much heat they have to heat those tents, et cetera, et cetera. But
Okay.
can't go over that.
Okay. Very
So-
good, thank you for working through all that.
Yeah, and we've, since August, we've raised 22,000. We have leads on quite a few other things. Let me think what else. Any other questions that you might have?
Yeah,
We got a second $7,500 grant from Evinrude.
yeah,
We got one
very nice.
last year, and then we called them and told them of our dilemma, and thanks to Sharon Erb, she got us another $7,500. So, that's good.
Did I see something in one of the local papers that a grant was granted from out of Madison somewhere for us?
Well, there's the WEDA grant, which
Yeah,
is.
we're-
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Dwight, there-
We've requested reimbursement, we haven't received it yet.
Right.
And Dwight, there was a public process at the state related to our $400,000 loan application for, that's at home again.
Okay.
That did make the paper.
Okay.
Okay, you had some questions, Scott? or-
No.
She touched on it all?
business.
Okay,
All right.
very good.
And I also did pay up the architect through November 30th, which is what I was billed for. And I wrote him a very nice note and said that we wouldn't be able to pay the $6,000 extra to the engineer or to the architect until the end of the project because we might need to pay them that on installments.
Right on.
That's all right.
Okay,
It's fine.
So,
good.
Yep.
Very good.
A long installment.
I said it's not that we're not going to pay it because we agreed to,
Okay, well.
but, you know, it's going to be the
I
end.
guess we have. yeah. Okay. Thank you, Patty. And thanks for sticking in there to the end.
Yeah.
I should have snuck you in there somewhere, but I didn't.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's fine. That's fine.
You probably wanted to do it.
I
Okay.
did. I'm excited.
It is. It's
Alright.
very
So
exciting.
exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So then we'll move on to correspondence. A letter from the Cambridge Area Lions Club thanking us for our financial assistance with the water line project. It's still kind of a mess out there, but they said by spring or in spring when it thaws, they will straighten all that out. So. Meeting announcements, January 14th Library Board, on the January 19th Personnel Committee, on the 20th Water, Sewer, and Stormwater Committee, and then on the 27th, another village board meeting.
One
Yep.
February item to add, we're looking at an early February meeting for the licensing committee.
The what committee?
Licensing.
Okay.
Yeah, you folks have to get.
True.
Yeah, well, I
progress
know.
on the,
We
Cambridge
gotta,
Yeah, we
I
need to
know.
run out before this is
That'll be
done,
your
Bud.
legacy.
That's so exciting.
Oh, that's okay.
I'll
If
tie
he
you
runs
to a
out, I'll
chair.
be happy to step in and help.
Yeah, I bet you will.
Oh, boy, I wouldn't wish that on any company.
Yeah, no, we gotta take care of some business there.
Yep.
We gotta get wrapped up.
Questions, referrals to staff for future agenda items? we're going to be working on our 2015 priorities. I know Mo, well, go ahead. Mo,
Yep,
you take it.
Very briefly, a meeting tomorrow morning with staff. We're going to be just assembling a one-pager that's going to summarize goals and objectives by our department head folks and share that with you in the next meeting. And then comments previous in the night of moving forward on the Fund 250 funding for full-time positions. Those are 2 items on future agendas.
Question, what's 250 fund?
That's the Economic Development Fund.
Okay.